This module deals with compliance. Compliance is an ability of a hollow organ to distend and increase in volume with increase in the transmural pressure. So the tendency of a hollow organ to resist recoil towards its original dimension on application of a distending or compressing force. So compliance of the lung is measured as the slope of pressure volume curve or as a change in the lung volume per unit change in the airway pressure by using this formula. It is normally measured in the pressure range where the relaxation pressure curve is steepest and the normal values are approximately 0.2 liters per centimeter of water in healthy adult man. Now let us see the pressure volume curve. With the help of spirometer, the pressure and the volume changes of the respiratory system during expiration and inspiration are noted on graph. The curve of the airway pressure is obtained in this way and plotted against the volume, which is the pressure volume curve of the total respiratory system. In a lung with a normal compliance, for a given change in the intrapleural pressure, a certain amount of air will enter the lung. In a lung with low compliance, as we can see in the restrictive lung diseases, example fibrosis, for a given change in the intrapleural pressure, less air will flow into the lungs. And in the lungs with a high compliance, that is seen in the obstructive lung diseases, so for a given change in the intrapleural pressure, more air will flow into the lungs. This is what you need to know about the changes in the pressures during inspiration as well as expiration and the effect of compliance. And what are the diseases affecting the compliance of the lung? The compliance decreases and the curve shifts towards right in the conditions like pulmonary fibrosis, interstitial lung diseases, pulmonary edema, and decrease in the surfactant and so on. As you can see, there will be increased compliance, that is curve shift towards left. In the conditions mainly like obstructive lung diseases like emphysema, normal aging of the lung, and during acute asthmatic attack or saline infused lung or surfactant supplementation, shift towards left. So this is what we need to know about what are the changes which are seen during restrictive as well as obstructive diseases in terms of compliance. And the next one is a pressure volume loop. So the dynamic recording of the pressure volume curves during inspiration and expiration from a loop which is shown in this picture. As you can see over here, the lung volume at any given pressure is slightly more during deflation than during inflation, and this effect is known as hysteresis, and it is mainly due to surface tension. And next is the pressure volume curves of air-filled and saline-filled lungs. So the saline filled inside the lungs acts as a surfactant, abolishing surface tension completely, and increases compliance of the lung, that is the resistance curve, that PTR curve shift towards left. And there will be no hysteresis as seen in air-filled lung. An important factor that affecting the compliance of the lung is the surface tension. The surfactant we know which lines the alveoli, which reduces surface tension. And the magnitude of this component at various lung volumes can be measured by removing the lungs from the body of an experimental animal and distending them alternately with saline and with air while measuring the intrapulmonary pressure. Because saline reduces the surface tension to nearly zero, and the pressure volume curve obtained with saline measures only the tissue elasticity, but whereas the curve obtained with air measures both tissue elasticity as well as surface tension. The difference between the saline and the air curves is much smaller when lung volumes are small. And the differences are also obvious in the curves generated during inflation as well as deflation. This difference is termed as hysteresis and notably is not present in the saline generated curves. the alveolar environment, specifically the secreted factors, which reduces the surface tension and keeps alveoli open, which means prevents from collapsing, contribute to hysteresis. So by this, we completed this module.